They say childhood memories shape who we become, but some memories should never linger. My name is Minnie. At least, that's what you can call me. I grew up in an old, sprawling house that had been in our family for generations. It stood tall, in a quiet town, surrounded by relatives who lived in the nearby houses. To the outside world, it was just another ancestral home. But to us, it was something else entirely. This house had secrets, and they revealed themselves when you were alone. I was about 10 years old when it first happened. My cousin and I were the only ones left at home that afternoon, aside from my mother and grandparents. Everyone else had gone to work or wandered off somewhere. I was sitting in the living room, mindlessly watching TV, while my cousin sat across from me, finishing her snack. Then, out of nowhere, she screamed. The sound sent a shiver down my spine. My cousin's face twisted in horror as she pointed toward the staircase. Her hands shook violently, her mouth opening and closing like she wanted to speak but couldn't. I turned to look, but there was nothing. Just the dimly lit wooden steps leading to the second floor. My grandparents rushed out of their room. My cousin was sobbing now, her tiny body trembling as my grandmother cradled her. My grandfather, ever the skeptic, stood up, walked to the staircase, and muttered, "There's no one here. See? Nothing." But my cousin refused to calm down, and I could feel it. Something unseen was watching us. Months passed, and the house's presence never truly left us. I tried to ignore the feeling of being watched, the whispers in the dead of night, the cold spots that lingered in certain corners. But one day, I learned the truth. It was another quiet afternoon. The house, as usual, felt abandoned, except for me and my grandparents. My cousin, yes, the same one, was outside playing with the other kids. I had been napping in my aunt's room on the second floor when a nightmare gripped me. In the dream, I was standing just inside our front gate. The house loomed behind me, eerily silent. Then I saw it. A pair of feet walking past the gate. The bars were thick and high, preventing me from seeing the person's face. But I knew they were looking at me. Curious, I crouched down, peering through the gaps, and then it moved. The figure crouched, mirroring me. I saw its face, blackened skin, blood dripping from its eyes, and a smile that stretched too wide. I couldn't scream. My body froze. It kept staring, its head tilting unnaturally to one side. Then it moved forward. The gate creaked open, though. No one touched it. The figure took slow, deliberate steps toward me. My breath hitched as it reached out. I woke up gasping. The room was deathly quiet. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. I sat up, trying to shake the dream away, when I heard something outside the door. Footsteps. They were light, almost playful, like a child walking barefoot across the wooden floor. My stomach twisted. No one was supposed to be upstairs with me. Crept toward the door, every fiber of my being telling me to run the other way. But before I could reach it, something moved at the foot of the stairs. A shadow. It was a girl. Or at least, something shaped like one. She stood still, her head tilted at an unnatural angle, long hair covering half of her face. Her dark dress billowed slightly, as if caught in an invisible breeze. She smiled. Then she moved. Fast. I stumbled backward, my scream catching in my throat. I turned to run, but before I could take another step, I felt it. A shove. A forceful, undeniable push against my back. I tumbled down the stairs, my vision blurring as panic surged through me. Just as I hit the bottom, my grandparents appeared, their faces etched with fear. They rushed to me, checking for injuries, but I couldn't speak. My breath came in ragged gasps as I looked up at the stairs. She was gone. But I knew what I saw. That night, my grandparents finally told me the truth. For years, strange occurrences had plagued not just our house, but the entire neighborhood. People whispered about the spirits that wandered the land, about the enormous tree at the edge of our property where restless souls gathered. My cousins, my siblings, everyone had their own story. I had always believed in ghosts, but that night, belief turned to certainty, because deep down, I knew she wasn't done with me yet.